Yeah. Next up in this lineup, the Briksdal Mountain SF, brand new for 2023. This is the boot I would have said, like, oh yeah, this, Aaron, if you're going to pick a Crispi, this is probably the one you're going to go for. Tell me where would you make that switch from the Mountain to the Mountain SF? Like what terrain, what conditions, what kind of hunt requires you to go from, okay, I'm loving this boot in the Briksdal Mountain to, I really need that extra, the stiffness from what I would say is a 3.5 to a 5.
Yeah, and as we're talking about this, I've worn the SF as much as I've worn just the standard Mountain.
Okay, that's good to know.
Last week I hiked in to go fishing into a high lake, which is generally, what I do when I'm bored and can't go hunting. And I wore the SF, zero problems at all. It just was more than I needed. I had a 35-pound pack. Since that stiffness, you're not going to be quite as agile, let's say, trying to boulder hop, in my case, cross logs over rivers and not die. You're going to want something a little more flexible. For me, if I had to pick one for everything, I actually would pick the SF when you're talking about extreme, high altitude, crazy hunts. So for me, if I'm more of a high country mule deer hunter, the SF. If I'm doing more goat and sheep hunting, the SF. But most people aren't doing that as much as they are lower land or moderate elevation elk hunts, things like that. So steep and deep, I would say I would run an SF. You're going to burn your calves out a lot less with that more stiffness. So the more you're flexing your foots, the more you're flexing your calf. Stiffer boot's going to be better on your legs climbing for the most part, but you're not going to be as comfortable for the most part either. You have given me crap, rightfully so. I've worn mountaineering boots antelope hunting. Like, I like a stiff boot. This one just happens to be a little bit different as far as that standard Mountain. But again, if I had to pick one, it would be that SF because I am up in the altitude quite a bit on my hunts.